Back in the day when I was on the primetime of Fox and you were on the primetime of CNN, a couple of hours after our shows ended, late night comics would come on and they occasionally would make us laugh, Piers. I mean, occasionally they understood that they were in the game of making everyone laugh. As you know, they've abandoned that game now and they're just political operatives out there. Colbert, Kimmel, Seth Meyers, who I struggle to even mention that guy's name. He's such an absolute prick. I can't stand him. But anyway, it's just my thought bubble out loud. We took a look at some of their reactions to the news of Trump's win. Look at this.
Hey there. How are you doing? If you watch the show regularly, I'm guessing you're not doing great. Yeah, me neither.
Let's be honest, it was a terrible night last night. It was a terrible night for women, for children, for the hundreds of thousands of hardworking immigrants who make this country go, for healthcare, for our climate. It was a terrible night for poor people, for our allies in Ukraine, for NATO. And guess what? It was a bad night for everyone who voted for him, too. You just don't realize it yet.
Said he would be a dictator on day one. The question now is, what will the rest of us be doing on day one? Now's the time to stand in solidarity with our friends, with our neighbors.
Well, it happened again. And in this democracy, the majority has spoken, and they said they don't care that much about democracy. The first time Donald Trump was elected, he started as a joke and ended as a tragedy. This time he starts as a tragedy. Who knows what he'll end as?
Any comforting words for them, Piers?
Just get over yourselves. Honestly, it's so pathetic watching grown men weep, because actually the real reason they're weeping is that they know they've spent years over-demonizing Trump as the new Hitler, and he's going to wreck everything and wreck America. He's terrible. He's a fascist. He's a neo-Nazi, blah, 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 blah. And what happened this week? America, having already seen Trump as president for 4 years and seen 4 years of what then followed under Biden and Harris, they went out in record numbers, white, black, Latino, men, women, all demographics, and they voted for apparently the new Hitler. In other words, they didn't believe a word of what these guys were saying. And I would say further, Megyn, what the hell happened in late night in America? When Johnny Carson was the king of late night, nobody knew who he voted for. Nobody knew. He made a point of mocking both sides. Jay Leno said yesterday, he said, I don't like Trump, but it was a great week for democracy. And salute to Jay Leno. I interviewed him last year about this. He doesn't understand why these late night guys want to be so obviously partisan. Why? And they're all partisan one way. And there's a reason why Greg Gutfeld is kicking all their backsides in late night on Fox. And it's because he's genuinely funny. He's a comedian. These guys think they're sort of preaching to some weird choir that wants them to be terribly serious and take all this very personally when their guy or woman in this case doesn't win an election. We don't give a stuff. Just be funny. And one of the things that I don't watch any of them anymore, but I see the clips. They're so worthy. The virtue signaling is so pathetic. Get over yourselves and go back to being funny. I think the ship has sailed for these guys. And it's interesting, isn't it? They talk about inclusion and diversity and all that thing. They're all middle-aged white guys. Have you noticed? All of them.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
So, but my advice is, if you believe in diversity, get a few more diverse people in there who can actually make me laugh.
Yeah, right, exactly. No, what they want with that virtue signaling is for you to rub their belly. They want the leftist elites to rub their little pupper bellies. That's what they're looking for. Please rub my pupper belly. Oh, it feels so good. I'm so much better than everybody else, those losers who voted for that evil man Trump. And you see it in the comment by Colbert. And it was also a terrible night for you people who voted for him. You're basically just too stupid to know it then. I mean, he said, you just don't realize it yet. Like, you're not smart like I am.
No, it's so delusional and so patronizing. And he sort of assumed everyone's had a bad night. Hey, Stephen, buddy, over 70 million people voted Trump. Massively more voted for Trump than voted for your girl, Kamala. And you know what? That means most Americans are not feeling like you. They're not. They're feeling happy because their person won. And the reason their person won is because this whole, as Elon Musk calls it, the woke mind virus has actually, I think, with this election result, been eradicated. We found a cure.
That's true.
And the cure is Donald Trump backed by Elon Musk and Joe Rogan and these other guys who actually, Rogan and Musk both used to be Democrats, really, but they just got sick and tired of the progressive left and this woke mentality, which is the kind of thing which not only tolerates but actively encourages biological men to beat up women in boxing rings in the Olympics. It's that mentality which I think this election result has literally shown the world it's over. People don't want to have this crap anymore.
I put myself in that same category. I used to be more on the left, socially at least, and it was the woke mind virus that completely destroyed that for me. And became much more active on these social issues once they started hurting our children and ruining people's careers. You speak of the white middle-aged men who are lecturing us about diversity and so on. I got another one for you. His name is Lawrence O'Donnell of MSNBC. Take a listen to Top 14.
Oh, my God.
When he was editor of the newspaper, The North Star, Frederick Douglass wrote, "We hold woman to be justly entitled to all we claim for man." That was a very unpopular opinion among white men in this country at that time, and it remains an unpopular opinion among some white men in this country to this day. It may be that not enough people in this country yet believe in the full equality of women to elect a woman president of the United States.
Thoughts on that?
No, it's not because she's a woman. And it's not because she's a black woman. It's because she was a useless candidate. And by the way, the Democrats knew that because when she tried to run before for their nominee, she got bounced out in the first round. She then became a vice president and was hugely unpopular and was working under a president whose approval rating was in the tank. And that is the person they decided to coronate without any democratic process as their candidate to take on Donald Trump. They brought all this on themselves. I mean, I was watching MSNBC for a few minutes last night as an act of willful self-torture. And what made me laugh was they were trying to explain to each other. Rachel Maddow, and I think Lawrence was there, all there, whining away. And they were trying to explain how Trump had won the Latino vote, while simultaneously, according to them, being the most racist human being to ever run for a high office in America. And of course, the reason is because people do not think he is the person that they depict him as. They don't think he's a Nazi. They don't think he's a fascist. They don't think he's the most racist person to ever run for office. That's why Trump won so big with Latinos and why so many more black voters came out for him. And when it comes to fascism, as you and I have discussed before, Megyn, is there any more purer embodiment of fascism than the woke mindset, which is you dress like we say you will, you talk like we say you will, you laugh at jokes that we approve, you read books that we approve, you watch television and movies that we approve, and if you don't do all these things, we will absolutely annihilate you. We'll shame you, we'll vilify you, we'll humiliate you, we'll cancel you, we'll get you fired from your jobs. That is the embodiment of fascism. So the fascists are not actually Trump and MAGA and his supporters. It's actually Kamala Harris and the woke followers of hers who have pursued a philosophy of fascism now for years. And what we saw with this election result is that mindset getting crushed.
If you are tired of the same old coffee from the big mega corporations pushing their woke agendas, listen up. It's time to take a stand and support a brand that truly embodies American values, Blackout Coffee. They stand with hardworking Americans who believe in family, faith, and freedom. They roast some of the most incredible coffee you will ever taste using only premium grade beans, roasted and shipped to you within 48 hours. And for the cold brew fans, Blackout Coffee is excited to announce the launch of their 2 new ready-to-drink cold brew coffee latte options. Don't settle for less. Make the switch to Blackout Coffee. Head on over to blackoutcoffee.com/MK or just use the code MK for 20% off your first order. blackoutcoffee.com/MK. The code is MK. Join the movement. Taste the difference. Remember, with every sip, you are supporting a brand that stands for America. Be awake, not woke. Thanks so much for watching. If you like what you just saw, hit the subscribe button for more clips and full episodes.